Well done.
Okay, so thank you again for inviting me. Thanks to Stephen, although he's not here, but thank you very much for inviting me. And I'm going to share with you, being Elul, Rosh Chodesh Elul next week, fast approaching, I'm going to share some insights into Elul with you. So as we begin the month of Elul and going right through Rosh Hashanah, the Aseret to Shuvah and Sukkot, we say LeDavid, Hashem Oli v'Yishi. God is my light and my salvation. We say that in the morning after the shofar and in the evening at the end of Ma'ariv. Chazal explain that Oiri, my light, refers to Rosh Hashanah, and Yishi, my salvation, refers to Yom Kippur, thus explaining why we recite this Psalm 27 at this time of year as we prepare for the Yomim Noraim. The Vilna Gaon, however, explains that Oiri, my light, refers to the Torah, and Yishi, my salvation, refers to mitzvahs, because it is only through the learning of Torah and the performing of mitzvahs that Jews enjoy the rewards of light and salvation. The opening verses read, I'm sure you know this, but I'm going to read it. God is my light and salvation, therefore I need not be afraid. When my enemies arise to devour me, they will stumble. If they encamp against me, it is in this, that's a key word, this that I trust. The one and only request that I have of you, God, is that I may dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of my life, to see your countenance and frequent your sanctuary. When reading these opening lines, it is not clear what David HaMelech is referring to with the word this. Rashi explains that the this refers to the opening Pesukim. God is my salvation, my light, my salvation. So according to Rashi, David HaMelech is saying that I trust in your light and your salvation, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Malbim, however, states that this is the upcoming pasuk, David HaMelech's request to sit in the house of Hashem continuously. So although we have two differing opinions of what the Bezois Hanivotech, is actually referring to, I've seen a nice vort which explains how both Rashi's and Malbim's explanations can indeed complement each other. Rashi teaches that trust in God's everlasting kindness and his greatness, his light and salvation at all times of life brings security and serenity to King David. The Malbim teaches that to merit that closeness, that light, that salvation of the Creator, one must seek and pursue a life prescribed by God and the Torah. Now, going back to the blowing of the shofar each morning of Elul, except of course for Shabbos, I'd like to focus on the Bnei Israel's very first Elul as a nation. Tanat Eliyahu reconstructs the timeline from the giving of the Torah until the very first Yom Kippur. The 40 days from the 17th of Tammuz until the end of Av were devoted to asking Hashem for forgiveness for the calamitous events of the golden calf. On Rosh Chodesh Elul, Moshe went up Mount Sinai, and in the camp they blew the shofar and announced, Moshe has gone up the mountain. This was to remind the people that this time they should count the 40 days correctly. This shofar, commemorated by our shofar blowing during Elul, caused a special elevation of the divine presence, the Shekhinah. God was elevated through the shofar. As for Moshe, he spent all of Elul learning Torah day and night in order to bring it back down to Am Yisrael on Yom Kippur. Both the Bnei Israel's and Moshe's Elul experience are models for our own Elul experiences, enabling us to recapture that spirit of Elul we spoke about before. We have all had our lapses during the year, so we, like the Bnei Israel in Elul after the golden calf, make serious efforts during this time to keep ourselves pointed in the right direction. But at the same time, we've accomplished much over the course of the year. We have, as it were, risen to Moses-like heights So during the month of Elul, we must, like Moshe, rise even higher in order to increase our commitment to the Jewish people. We take advantage of God allowing us to join him on his mountain. With this double Elul experience in mind, repairing the problematic sides of our lives and intensifying the positive ones, will, God willing, help give our Eluls focus and positivity. There's a story told of a young man who was driving from one major city in America to another. As one does during a long car journey, this young man stopped at a service station for a break and walked into the restroom. He looked around the room and it looked somewhat different to what he was used to. There were full-length mirrors on the walls, more cubicles, and the place just looked a lot cleaner. As he was about to exit, in walked a lady. There was a moment of shock as they both looked at each other before the young man made his way out of the restroom thinking, well, the lady can't be blamed for making the mistake of walking into the wrong bathroom. But just as this thought was going through his head, he turned around and the image on the door was that of a lady. He had made the mistake. What this story highlights for me is that the focus on positivity in our lives during the month of Elul should relate to the introspection of myself. It is all too easy to blame other people when the misdemeanor is actually our own. But to say that we are not all in this together would be a mistake. Indeed, we are responsible for each other. If there are 10 people in a boat and one person suddenly takes out a Black & Decker and starts drilling a hole in the bottom of the boat, the 9 other people will be horrified. But I'm only drilling the hole where I'm sitting, comes the response to the horrified faces. And the other 9 shout, clearly everyone will sink because of your individual action. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson of blessed memory, was once sitting outside his house in Nikolaev. He was 4 years old, and an irreligious man walked by and said to the very young Menachem Mendel, why do you wear that big black kippah on your head? Take it off, you don't need it. Menachem Mendel replied, well, it reminds me of my God, who is always there protecting me, and it would be wrong to remove it from my head. To which the man responded, don't worry, if you remove it, I'll take the sin for you. To which Menachem Mendel responded that this would be even worse, because every Jew is responsible for one another. Your wrongdoing affects me too. Finally, we all know that when we use one candle to light another, the light of the first candle doesn't diminish. So too, as we all go through Elul, may we take stock of our own deeds, but also use our flames to ignite those of our fellow. In this way, we will all use the month of Elul for personal and communal introspection and positivity, wishing everyone an early Shana Tova.
I'd just like to thank Rabbi Nicky Goldmeier for that.